everyone, to the Scaling Smart podcast, where we bring together industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators to discuss key insights, strategies, and experiences that have driven success, both for themselves and their customers. I'm Billy Mitchell, your host, and today I'm excited to introduce a special guest and a personal friend of mine, Joe Pellegrino. He's the CEO of Divine Digital Agency, which is a software development agency behind the creation of Ames, AI Implementation Made Simple. Pretty unique and clever name. I like it. Proprietary platform designed to help small and mid-sized businesses harness the power of AI with speed and clarity. With a deep background in building scalable, user-friendly web and mobile solutions, Divine Digital developed Ames as a response to the overwhelming complexity and hype surrounding AI in the business world. Awesome. Joe, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Billy. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing awesome. I got to admit, I'm a little nervous because you're a vet in the podcast recording space. And as a close friend, I know a lot about you. So I got to make sure that we don't go into areas that are off limits and private. So if I go in anywhere, just like point at me and say, hey, we're not talking about that. You know too much.
I got, I got you. I got you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, as a reminder to everybody listening, we break our podcast down into three sections. We're going to get to know Joe and his organization. We're going to talk about his industry and his ideal client profile. And finally, how he has grown and scaled his organization. Cool and unique part about Joe and his organization, it's been around for a while, but Ames is new. So he's got a bit of a old agency growth perspective as well as a new business or new product launch, and how is he going to be growing that? So I'm excited to dive into that. You ready to get going, Joe?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's start by getting to know you and your business. I always tell people they can go more than 90 seconds, but give us the 90-second elevator pitch of who Joe is and what is Divine Digital.
Yeah, so Joe Pellegrino, we're based in Naples, Florida. Divine Digital is a software development agency, like you said. We do custom development, largely mobile apps, and recently we have introduced a series of AI-orientated products that are geared toward making AI simple for general business owners and individuals. I actually acquired Divine Digital in 2022, but I was part of the founding team originally in 2016. That's what actually originally brought me to Naples in the first place. And I worked with the founder, Jared Stressenreuter, for about 18 months before going off on my own. And ultimately coming back around to buy the organization. My brother is the chief operations officer, and we've got a really solid team of designers, developers, project managers, and super proud of what we built so far.
That's awesome. Um, Now I want to get to know you a little bit. How did you get to the point that you were sitting at the table ready to purchase Divine Digital? Give us a little bit of your resume.
Sure. So in 2019, I started a strategic marketing agency where we specialized in marketing consulting, specifically marketing strategy. And my partner and I at the time, we just really in the entrepreneurial spirit, we sort of made it our goal to begin making acquisitions. He came from the business brokerage world originally, and knew sort of the high level of buying businesses, and that sort of seemed like the next stage for us. Ultimately, our partnership did not work out, but obviously the acquisition stuck. And to be honest with you, entirely candidly, it was probably a mistake to make that acquisition when we did. And so we were sort of I was personally sort of blindsided by what kind of came from it. But I am not one to back down from a challenge. I'm not one that just lays dead in a hole. And ultimately, we really took what could have been a freight train on the way to hell into something that's really exciting and something really important in our market and in the industry more broadly. So that's just a little bit about kind of you know how I ended up at the helm here following an acquisition.
Love it. And I obviously have some good knowledge of you and time with you. So I know the level of expertise and consultative power you bring to the table. And I
Thank you.
know that that's a major push within Divine Digital. You guys have a really unique approach to scoping out work and really making sure that the customer in fact needs this product and is going to utilize this product before you just sell the product.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a very expensive, generally very expensive process to build apps and custom software. And so investing that type of money into something that they're not going to use or is not perfect for them is not always good for an agency. So, walk us through a little bit about who your ideal client is, how are you serving them, and I'm going to frame this question in what Divine Digital has done previous, and walk us through how Ames came about.
Yeah.
Obviously, AI is everybody's buzzword now, which I think is good. But clearly, you saw the shift in the market and took advantage of that.
Yeah, like I said, we deal in largely custom development and mostly mobile apps. I mean, the majority of our, several hundred projects have been mobile applications. And like you said, they're extremely expensive. I mean, they run from, you know, 80 to 300, $400,000. And we're we're on the lower end of the pricing spectrum comparatively. So it's an expensive product. It's not something that we have customers that come in lightly, and it's certainly not something that's an impulse buy. It's a really long sales cycle. Very very rarely do we convert a client in a short period of time. Now our process for building software is quite unique in the sense that we don't just take scopes and turn them into proposals immediately, right? We have a process of strategy and prototyping that allows our clients to sort of not dip their toes in, because that's not what they're doing, but it allows them to sort of, for a fraction of the price of full development, really flesh out and explore their idea, building out that blueprint before ultimately, putting it in for actual development. So, for example, you might spend $15,000 on that initial part of the process on a project that will ultimately cost 200, 300 grand. So it works out really, really nicely for our clients. Where I mean, we have quite a decent conversion rate from that initial product to full development. And But it does give guys that, hey, I want to build out the prototype before raising money, so that I've got this idea, but now I need to actually see it in action before I can start raising money for development. We see a lot of that. But what's changed a lot with the onset of artificial intelligence is that uh, there is a lot of efficiencies being developed in the development world using AI. If you know how to use it, you can code using AI, which is equal parts really good and really scary for a software development agency. And so and that hasn't started to impact our business yet, but we know it will. We know that there's going to come a day where rates are going to drop precipitously because it no longer costs as much to actually develop. I don't see a world necessarily where people are developing their own applications and not removing sort of the need for a software development agency, but I do see a world where the needs decrease. And honestly, I think with AI is going to change the way we consume software in the first place, right? And so about 12 months ago, we started really shifting our strategy as an organization towards artificial intelligence and trying to develop products and processes that would really help to bring that wave on that's coming forward. Because even though, I mean, we're in the middle of 2025, right? We're what, over 2 years since ChatGPT really became popular, but there is still a major contingent of business owners that have never even touched any level of artificial intelligence. And about 90% of the people that we talk to, when we ask them if they use AI, they say absolutely, but they use it for content generation only. That's all. That's what they think AI is. They think AI is running my emails through ChatGPT, or or writing a blog post using ChatGPT or a OpenAI associated product. But that's just not even scratching the surface. And so when we realized that, we started really kind of getting into the idea of, first of all, building our own artificial intelligence models, which is something that we've done. We've created a product called Ainsley that is a totally blank slate artificial intelligence that can be customized. Um, but even that, what we realize is even that's too advanced for for the market to find palatable. And so we sort of took a couple steps back and determined that what people really need is they need the guidance and they need the direction of how do I use artificial intelligence in my business? How does that happen? Like, what do I do? There's so many platforms and products out there, and they're all, in a sense, they're all very, very similar, right? Because they're all recruiting from the same LLMs, they're all recruiting from the same general models. And the biggest reason that people come to us in the first place to develop software is because, yeah, there may be a software out there that can do what they need it to do, but it either does too much or too little compared to what they actually need. And so they're looking to develop something custom that's exactly what they need. Very similar with AI, right? They're looking for something that's custom to them. What are the workflows that can be built for me that actually fit like a glove into my processes? And that's what I want to build. So that's what Ames does. It takes on business owners that may have zero experience or may just not have the time to really kind of dig further into how AI can impact their business. And what we do is we help them to discover the opportunities that are available. So we'll actually run them through a really deep dive discovery process where we just understand things that are bugging them about their business, things that they see as opportunities, time spent on certain tasks, etc. And then based on all that, we come up with a handful of opportunities that specifically address specific workflows that they have, and tell them, hey, this is what your return is on this, right? If you actually implement this workflow that we're recommending, you stand to save 500 hours a year, which you told me is worth X number of dollars. So your ROI on implementing this workflow is Y, and that's been really really effective. So sort of circling back in a long way to answer your question, our customers are business owners that are looking to enhance their business using artificial intelligence. It may be someone who knows a lot, maybe someone who doesn't know anything at all. Either way, we can work with you to help you find the opportunities that make the most sense and not just tell you what those opportunities are and what those workflows could be, but we're also available to implement them for you. We'll tell you, we'll give you the keys to do it yourself. But what we find is that, a lot of our clients, well, they want us to do it. They want us to implement, and it usually comes out better that way.
Yeah, I like how you described what the future of AI is going to be looking like, and I reference it back to search logic. We obviously manage ads on platforms like Google. Well, Google, any business owner could go start a Google campaign on Google or a Meta campaign and get their ads up and running, and to some degree get a level of success. But then at a certain point, um, pulling in an expert, an agency is going to be really powerful to take it to the next step. Um,
Hmm.
and Google and other platforms are obviously implementing AI on their side to make things more efficient as well. But even then, at a certain point, you need somebody who's an expert in the AI and how to manage the tool uh,
Hmm.
that can take you to that next level. So it's clear that you guys are recognizing that there is that gap. And, personally, I would fall into that. I know a lot about AI. I know a lot about Chat GPT. He's my buddy. We work together every day. Uh, but I know that at a certain point, I don't know enough. And so actually, believe it or not, I'd like to talk to you later. Maybe we can work together on some projects I'm trying to figure out. So that's awesome. All right. So let's talk about the industry then as a whole, because one of the things that I am fascinated about AI is of recent years now, AI has built this foundation that new industry is exploding. And
Hmm.
I think we're seeing new businesses, new tools, new products, new services explode at a rate that we really haven't seen in certainly my lifetime, probably longer. It seems as though I'm always meeting somebody. Yeah, I just started this AI company, or I just started this company that's built on AI, right? Um, so I know that the industry as a whole is a large, sea. You obviously are cutting out your niche in that. Um, Tell us more about the industry as a whole, where it's going, and where do you see Divine Digital and Ames in, let's say, the next 3 years?
Yeah, the answer is that the industry is moving faster than anybody can keep up with. I don't know if I'm assuming you subscribe to the rundown, the AI rundown, and I mean, every single day, it's just like drinking from a fire hose in terms of what's new, what's available, what's coming alive, and it's incredible. It's like we've over the last 60 years we've been working really hard to push this big giant snowball up a hill, and now it's on the downslide, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and faster because once they unlock the language models the way that they have, I mean, that's just what that really did was that in a sense it democratized artificial intelligence across the board because AI has existed for a long time, right? But what's happened since 2018 is it's become something uh, that is as close to being alive as it's ever been, right? And I see the next 6 to 18 months being pretty explosive in terms of what's coming down the pike, what's going to be new. I think that a lot of the way that we consume information is going to change, right? Because I mean, you think about the way that kids use artificial intelligence and the way that I mean you can get through your course using ChatGPT, and there's really no way to stop you from doing that. There's just really no way to do that, right? So to me, I'm thinking logically, okay, how if that's going to be the issue, if that's going to be something that's rampant, right? And even for me, right? I use ChatGPT not just as an information source, but as a way to process information, to think through things. I'll record a phone call. I'll add another transcript from another call, and I'll try to kind of you know ask questions about the phone calls and sort of come up with thought processes based on hey, I talked to this particular investor based on our last phone call. How do you think he would perceive this proposal? I mean, it's really incredible. But in a sense, I'm relying so heavily on that, I'm not thinking, right? And it's the same for kids in school. They're not really having to think. So I think as humans, biologically, that's not going to fly, right? That's just not going to be an innately sustainable thing for us. We're not going to, we're just not going to stop thinking. That's not what's going to happen, right? So I think what's likely going to happen is the way that we consume information is what's going to change. And while yes, we can kind of converse with these artificial intelligences, I think there's going to be and again, this is all conjecture, right? This is all me guessing and sort of casting what I would imagine logically would happen as humans. But I think that the way that we communicate with artificial intelligence is going to change. The way that we engage in applications is going to change. The sort of the input output of information is going to change because if every email that I get I know has been run through AI, well, I can just run the email that I received through AI to generate an answer, and then I'm out of the loop entirely. But then I don't know what's going on, right? So how does that sort of work out? So anyway, I think a lot is going to start changing in the next 6 to 18 months to that end. I think from a software perspective, like I said, I think there's a lot that's going to change. I think we have a runway before the current way of doing things expires entirely. I think we've probably got a runway of at least 8 to 10 years, maybe even more than that, before things totally settle. But I think similar to the sort of the adoption curve we've seen on large language models like ChatGPT, I think that there's going to be a pretty wide adoption curve with everything new that's coming before the what is it the what do they call them, the laggers, the late adopters, before they sort of are on the train. So that's yeah, those are just general thoughts and sort of where we're headed.
Yeah, it's funny. I like the joke. We used to say, "I'll have my people get in touch with your people." Now I think we can say, "I'll have my chat get in touch with your chat," and we'll just have them figure it out. Or
Yeah,
the
right.
joke now where you're in an argument with your wife, and she uses chat to figure out how to handle it, and then I use chat to figure out how to handle it, and it's like, okay, did we get this
They're just
figured
talking to
out?
each
I don't
other.
know. Let's just go talk to chat real quick. So, anyways, all that to say, it's funny to think about where that future is, but I think you're spot on. We're a little ways away from it kind of taking over like the internet, where, I remember a day when you would see a commercial on TV and they'd put their website, and it was kind of like, wow, that's kind of crazy. They have a website, that's new. And now it's like if you don't have a website, you're not even a business. And so you're
Well,
right. I think
and,
you're
and more than that, though, the way that even web development has curbed itself has changed substantially, right? Can you hear background noise right now?
Yeah, but it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, all right, sorry about that.
It's real life.
I would say, with web development, right? I think web
Yeah.
development is a really good example of what could happen with AI in the sense that you had the Wild West in the late 90s, early 2000s. Nobody had a website, then everybody had a website, then everybody had garbage websites, then websites started getting upgraded and really fancy, and Flash was a big deal. Flash in like the late 2000s was, oh man, you got to have the site with all the moving animations, all this kind of stuff, and it was gaudy and wasn't functional. And then web development sort of came down and leveled off to something that's now sustainable, where yes, everybody has a website, but what's more important than the flash bang is the clarity of it and the ability to process to consume information from it. That's why some of the best sites are simple, minimal sites. I think that's probably where we're headed from an AI perspective, where right now we're in the flash bang period, and I think that's going to continue for a while before it does level off to, okay, but really, what are we doing here? Right? Like,
Yeah.
how do we function from here?
Yeah. No, that's good. I love that. All right, let's jump into growth and scale. So let's first start with how you've grown Divine Digital as a whole. What's worked. I really like to discuss what hasn't worked, so we can kind of learn from each other's mistakes and
Hmm.
maybe get some nuggets from there. But then also, you're now launching what really could be its own standalone business and possibly even redefining what Divine Digital is with this Ames product. How are you going to grow that? How are you getting that in front of the market? What's working, or what are you, if not even what's working because it's too new, what are you guys planning on? What are you looking to test out?
Yeah, I mean, we are going all in on Ames. Not to a degree that we are abandoning our software, our software projects and processes, but we believe that Ames is our future for the next handful of years at the very least, and I think that will ultimately sort of flesh itself out over the years in terms of where we head with that. But right now, it's about meeting people where they're at. So, so in terms of growth and scale, we're kind of approaching it from a two-pronged perspective, right? We've always done sort of boots on the ground sales here at DD. Whether in some cases we brought in inbound leads, but in most cases we're dealing in, you know, we've got our sales team that's actually out in the field, having the conversations. That has, I think, had its hiccups, to be honest with you, uh, simply because there's only so much scale you can create from that. And, having really, really personable salespeople, but not necessarily being able to close quickly because of the long sales cycle, almost kind of, I know it sounds strange, but it's almost counterintuitive. And so while there is so Ames sort of has two main products. We've got our sort of in-person consultation that's $2,500, and then we've got our Ames web portal, which is frankly a lot more valuable and powerful than even the human product. But we do that at $49 a month plus tokens for sort of it's similar to a freemium model, right? Where you kind of get deeper and deeper and spend more and more. Um, but with the online version, we haven't launched it yet, but we'll be launching a digital marketing strategy there using. I feel that Facebook ads is going to be really powerful for this particular one, and probably Instagram and TikTok as well. But I think Facebook ads is going to be more powerful because our market really is more of the boomer Gen X kind of business owners, and they're all on Facebook. Um, And so, but for the human product, that we're doing more boots on the ground sales. We will see how that sort of behaves, how we do from a sales perspective. We only launched Ames about 30 days ago, and we've had a very successful first month in terms of sales, which has been all boots on the ground. So I think it remains to be seen how it fleshes itself out. Um, but that's sort of what we've been doing so far.
That's awesome. I love the fact that using some old school tactics, boots on the ground, handshakes, in persons, to introduce and launch a very technical, futuristic product. I love that. How about partnerships? Have you investigated partnerships in, call them referral partners or strategic partners? How's that success been? Or if you've done it at all, is that part of your plan?
Yeah, so that is a big part of our plan, and we have actually had a lot of these agencies and potential partners approach us and say, "I want to sell this product. I want to white label this product." Actually, I'm supposed to be on a call right now that had gotten rescheduled, but I prioritized you, of course, Billy, with one of these
Naturally.
agencies, and Jordan is handling that. But yeah, I think that's going to be a big part of this. Uh, because what we've done here is we've built something that is so pointed but also so simple. It's broad, but it's also very clear and specific in terms of what it is. Right? It is what it is, but it's approachable to a large swath of the market. Because basically, you're seeing ads all day for this AI platform and that AI platform. You're not seeing ads for how do you actually organize those platforms into something that works for you, or how do what actually does work for you. So I feel pretty strongly that it's going to be very scalable, and so part of that is agencies that are looking to sort of bridge the gap between their clients who are looking to do X and Y and Z, let's say marketing strategy or financial strategy, whatever, and being able to sell them on Ames as sort of a conduit, maybe a more targeted conduit to some of those processes. So so strategic partners is a big thing for us over at Ames.
That's awesome. Wonderful. Well, this has been awesome. I'm going to jump into the final stage here, which is the lightning round. I haven't prepped you on any of these questions, but they're easy, they're
Uh-oh.
fun. So just going to ask you a few questions here. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. But but overall, this has been fun, so I really appreciate it. You ready
Yeah,
to go?
man. Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
I'm sorry, what is coffee?
I'm from Jersey. Leave me alone.
Sorry, I had to. All right, what's one tool or system you rely on to keep your organization running smoothly?
uh, I'm gonna have to go with the sample the standard of Zapier actually. Zapier is a part
Nice.
of a lot of our processes.
Yeah, it's good. I wish I knew it better. All right, favorite book, podcast, or resource that's influenced you?
Um, favorite favorite podcast. Um, Man, I like political podcasts. I'm a big Ben Shapiro guy. I'm sure that's going to piss a decent amount of people listening to this off, but I'm from a political perspective, I enjoy him, but I'm so inspired by his ability to do a million different things amazingly well, and that's something that I find really impactful in my business.
I love that, and I'm a fan of Ben as well. And oftentimes I find myself with certain podcasts, and I've got some really unique interests that most people are like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I like watching the people because I'm interested in how they're developing their media agency, how they're
Mm,
developing the work behind what they're delivering, right? So I'm
yeah,
really into disc golf, which is kind of funny. And I
that
love
is funny.
listening to these two kids on the East Coast. They've got a really successful company now. Um, they talk about disc golf, they talk about the players, the tournaments, all that kind of stuff. I'm actually probably more interested in watching them build this organization than I am in actually the content. So it's
Mm,
kind of funny that way, but I'm on board
yeah.
with what you're saying. Um, all right, a couple more. What's the biggest challenge you faced in your career, and how has it shaped you?
You know, uh, a challenge that I've always had is feeling underqualified or inadequate. And as much as that has led to abundant stress, It has also hardened me and made me, made me had to have to dig deeper. There's another way of kind of putting it. So yeah, I would say that the feeling of inadequacy is a driver, weirdly.
It's a real thing, man.
Hmm.
Sometimes I feel real alone on the island, where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I get it. All right, what's one bucket list item you've already checked off?
Living in another country.
Nice.
I lived in Scotland for a period of time. I actually ended up marrying a Scottish girl. I'm actually in Scotland right now. We come over here usually twice a year. My kids love it over here. It's a nice break from the weather down in South Florida. Uh, and But yeah, I lived here for a while. It's a great place, but it did make me love America more. So,
There you go. I love it. What's one goal you're still working towards?
um, man, I'm looking forward to the day that I can feel like feel stabilized, right? Feel entirely stable, which I know sounds like a very, very basic goal, but when you're an entrepreneur and you've got multiple hats and multiple plates spinning, the feeling of stability is extremely elusive. And I'm also aware that I may never naturally and organically feel that. And sometimes it's about working backwards and sort of cleaning things up to get to that level of stability. And that's kind of where I am now, right? I'm sort of at the at the apex of investment and survival, and trying to get to that place of just stabilization where I can just sleep for a minute
Yep.
and then get back to
Yep.
work.
I get it, man. I know that feeling. All right, finally, the hardest question of all. If people want to get a hold of you, Joe, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so best way to get in contact with me directly would be my email address, joe@divinedigitalagency.com. If you want to learn a little bit more about the Ames program, you'd go to getamesnow.ai. And everything that you need is there to get an understanding of what we're doing and also how to get a hold of us.
I love it. Well, I'll check it out after this episode. All right, everybody, that's a wrap for this episode of Scaling Smart. I'm your host, Billy Mitchell, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Scaling Smart podcast, where we have conversations with real people who have real stories, who have learned how to scale smart.